Welcome to the show.
No.
Drew, JC are here, but we are gonna yinzer it up. We got another Pittsburgher here with us, and those are always fun. And then the accent will come out a little bit, and uh, super cool guy. I'm really excited to have on the show. And without further ado, I'll just go ahead and let him introduce himself to everybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for having me on here. Very excited to be here. My name is Ryan Beatrice. I've been in the acting field probably since high school times. I did all my high school musicals. I was in a Guys and Dolls. I played Big Jewel. I remember that. And I remember Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat was a couple of the ones that I started with. But it kind of slowed down as I progressed. I graduated from college. I did a couple there when I was at Geneva. And then I went to the Pittsburgh Institute of Mortuary Science. So that's why I'm wearing my shirt here. And I graduated and became a licensed funeral director and embalmer. Did my internship, continued on with that. And now I just do that more so as a trade and just as a supplemental thing. And I still love it and I still have a passion for it, but acting's my forefront. I also run a business. I am a Snyder's Lance distributor. So I work independently and I supply all of the stores in my local county here. So I've kind of been all over, but acting takes precedence over everything. And one of the biggest contracts I have right now is with Jack Links, and I traveled northeast with them mainly. However, I'll go Maine to Florida. There are Western guys who work as well. They are based, they start at Wisconsin. So out there, Minong is where the biggest distribution one is out there. So it's been a fantastic set of time with them. Um, Digging a little more deeper into that side of things. I started that whenever COVID was kind of finishing up and it was just a rough time and nobody was wanting to do activities or things involving a lot of people. And normally the events that I would do would have tons of people at them. And that could be anything from meet and greet style stuff to picture ops, commercials, anything that's over on this side, I'll go do with those guys. And I can't talk highly enough about them. They treat me great. The marketing guys over there, Tom and Dave, they're just the best guys to work for. And I've gotten to see so many cool places and things I would have never been able to even afford to travel now. It's so expensive to do anything. So they just treat me really well. And it's been a blessing to be with them.
That's super cool. I was gonna bring that up. That was gonna be the first thing that I brought up actually, because
Yeah.
uh, so every person that we talk to from the various industries that we have conversations with, it all started years ago when we had a little paranormal podcast called Sasquatchers. And so the first, I don't know, 80 or so interviews that we did were all like paranormal or Sasquatch related. And
I
we
love
we
that.
did we did a lot of Sasquatch content. And in fact, like if just in my
Awesome.
office here, I have like you brought up Jack Links, right? So this is a Jack Links bottle opener that's just kind of
Oh, that's
put
awesome. That's
on
very
my
cool.
cabinet. I have
I
Sasquatch
love seeing it so close
everywhere.
by.
um,
Yeah, I have they treat me well. I have a bunch of shirts and jerky, and my son really enjoys it too. They treat him well, and he's always eating jerky. He's 15 years old this year, and he's getting close to the same size as me. So he's a lineman. He does that, and he throws track. He's actually holds a record for eighth graders whenever he was throwing. So he's doing so well, and I wish him the best. But he's a big fan, and every time I come back, he's like, "Dad, what kind is it now?" So we're always diving into some new bags of jerky, and it's just a great way to bond with anybody, I think, is through jerky and Sasquatch.
yeah. So you said that you do photo ops and stuff. Do you ever
Sure.
get any like hardcore Sasquatchers that are showing up just
Yeah.
for
You
like the
know,
Bigfoot stuff?
Yeah, so a lot of my meet and greets they could be at like huge sales events where that's kind of a regulated population who's going to be there. But we also just go out into different places that are selling Jack Links and we'll do meet and greets there. And you can meet all kinds of people just from those towns and big, small cities. We've been all over anywhere that sells it, or maybe there's a grand opening to a store. We could work on those. We just try to spread the word of Jack Links the best that we can. But it's just always a wild adventure because you never really know what you're walking into until you get there. But a few times I was there, there's been people who've been waiting for me for hours, hours to get there, and I show up and I'm so humbled and thankful for them because they make it really worthwhile to me. Some of those people that come up and just give you those earth shaking hugs and they just, you can feel them, just kind of trembling there and just thank you. I want to take a million pictures and doing all the things that I can, anything I can think of, I try to do for them.
Yeah, the Sasquatch community is definitely a large and not well contained one, I'll say. Like
Yeah, yeah,
you get a
yeah.
lot of a lot of personalities in that
Yes,
group. It's very different from each person.
yes.
And yeah. I actually when we started, I tried to pitch. I had so many entrepreneurial ideas. I tried to pitch to every skateboard company a new type of skateboard that I called Yeti board
Okay.
or something similar to that. And
Right.
I was trying to sell people on turning Sasquatch into a brand of skate
That'd be awesome.
with stuff. And
I just feel like everyone loves that image. I mean, I see it so many places, even more now. It's kind of like when you own a car, you see more of that car. Now I just see Sasquatch everywhere on window placards and in people's yards and hiding in, just everywhere. And it's so cool to see.
yeah, it became like the American mascot over the last, I don't know,
Yeah.
10 years or so. And
No, it really has.
that's what I'm trying to tell all these skateboard people, like, dude, let's do my Yeti board. Like, this is
Yeah.
awesome. And everybody, like, I had one company feign a little interest, and they were from like Sweden or something, and it
I
went
see.
nowhere. But that was
I'd love
something
to
that
see
I
that take off though, that'd be awesome, because
right.
Jack Link's has the Yeti now. I don't know if you've seen any of the new commercials, but we also have a Yeti now, so, he's super cool when him and Sasquatch get together, and you never know what's gonna happen, so it's always a wild time whenever both can show up.
Yeah, heck yeah, no, that's awesome. I'm glad that that gig works well for you.
I wanted to
Uh,
touch on the other part we were saying with the Sasquatch community, just in who and where I think I felt the most support. I've done all kinds of things from being, NCAA, MLB, NFL, but the NASCAR community is just, they love it. And I feel like there's a huge presence for Sasquatch there and the people that come up and, offer anything, a good story or just a handshake, asking for a, can I have a Sasquatch sign? Just anything. It was so cool working with them, and we have a bunch of the races up by me, which would be more like the Poconos and Watkins Glen, but going down into Talladega, that's now the Jack Link's, Talladega Raceway.
oh, cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yes, yes,
Uh,
that is, completely sponsored by them, and, uh, it's it's an awesome place for Sasquatch to get to explore down there.
so you have people at these meet and greets will tell you stories. Are there any like that sat with you that
Yeah.
were memorable?
There was. So we were at a it was a sales event, and we were at the sales event, and a older lady had came up, and, she kinda looked a little scared to approach me, just kind of, like, playful, but still a little, backing up, and I came up and was, you know I Sasquatch doesn't talk, Sasquatch doesn't do that, so just try to feel her out and see what's going on. She asked me, "Hey, could, I make a call here on my phone because I have someone that really like to meet you. They wanted to be here today, but they're sick and they're bedridden and they can't get out, but their whole life, they've been about Sasquatch. I guess he had made hundreds and he sold them of like the large 9-foot wooden Sasquatches and sold them at a flea market down by their place. So I just remember that phone clicking on and he was kind of like hooked up to machines and just not looking good. And he just lit up. I mean, life went into him and it just, luckily there was a blockade between me and him because my eyes were watering up a little bit, just that it meant so much to somebody else. And I was able to do that, even if it was only for 10, 15 seconds of the day. It's one of my best stories I say I have.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's incredible. Um, it's weird the power that that could have for somebody, and
Yeah. Yeah.
you
No,
just never
seriously.
you never know what that thing is too. And
That's all.
So yeah, man,
And
that's
I'm
that's
thankful for every opportunity that I get to do those things. I do a lot of live acting. I do like murder mystery shows. Mysteries Most Wanted is the company down here in Pittsburgh. They're a great troupe of people to go around with. And just at all these different places and all these different experiences, I get touched so many times by just somebody laughing, smiling, a whole room full of people laughing sometimes. It's just, it hits you deeper than just hearing it.
yeah. I was gonna ask about that too.
Yeah.
I tried maybe even that company. So a few years ago, I was the executive chef at a multi-concept restaurant, and it was during COVID, and we were trying to do everything that we could to bring business back. And
Tough for
one of the
everybody.
things, yeah, one of the things that I had pitched was doing, that type of dinner theater thing with a murder mystery. And it was
Oh,
a hard sell because the owners were very hoity-toity and had very specific taste, but they're also very much like stuck in the 80s. So
sure. Sure.
um, we were able to kind of sell it to them on the premise of like the film Clue.
Okay.
And then I was tasked with finding people, and they wouldn't hire anybody that I wanted to bring because it was too expensive. Like,
All
so
right.
what they ended up doing was they made every employee act in it, and people who like
Oh, wow.
show up to like cook or serve, they all became actors
Yeah,
that
okay.
night.
Oh, yeah, they
It was my day
really
off, so
quickly. Yeah.
yeah, and that's just like one of those. I I like that story because it kind of demonstrates the class difference between like the super wealthy that we were working for and all of us lower level humans that they just were like,
I
well,
hear that.
the help will do it. It's fine. We're not going to pay professionals.
Yeah.
And
I hear that. I hear that. I hear that.
but I I I like murder mysteries a lot.
I've
What
had a blast with them. It got me really into more improv. It helped me learn lines better. It opened up a new level of courage, I'll say, that I'd have on the stage out there. My first show that I ever did, I got hired on. It was called Mobsters, Malls, and Marinara, and I got hired as a character named Vinny V. Talks with the 1920s talk, and I open up the show and I pull out a blank pistol and I shoot the bullet. And when I turn around, there's all 300 people looking at me because it was so loud inside of this building. It actually scared me. And I was like, Ryan, please start saying your lines. And what felt like forever was maybe only a second, but they came out and I had said them to myself 1,000 times. One of my biggest tips whenever I try to memorize a very large script like that is I'll record it verbatim into my voice notes and then I'll play it in my headphones. I'll play it when I'm driving. I'll play it over top of music. I'll play it over when people are talking. And I say it until I have it in repeat, and then eventually I'll turn off those voice notes, and then I'm just saying that cadence of my lines straight through as many times as I can throughout the day, and I think about it so much just because it matters to me to be a part of things like that, and I don't wanna mess up, and luckily, it never happened. My first show that I ever did, people came up and they're like, "We can't believe this is your first show, like, you did so well," and it meant a ton to me, especially being a little nervous, doing a new accent, doing a live show, and how we do this one is we bring in different members of the audience into the show, so that incorporates a new level of comprehension because if they're reading wrong, if they may had too many drinks, you don't know which way the show is gonna go, so catching it and, even when you do mess up, the audience doesn't really know, so if you don't show them that you did, they just keep rolling with it.
yeah. Uh so is there any type of awkwardness performing? I mean, a lot of this is like, dinner and a show, right? Like, so you're
Right.
doing this while they're eating. Is there
Yeah,
like
there
any is there any like awkwardness to that? I know, to kind of make a comparison. It's always funny when like a comedy club has like people eating steak
right.
while people are up there, doing their sets, because
Yeah.
like nobody wants to eat like a tomahawk steak while you're at like a comedy club, but
Sure, sure.
part of like the whole allure is, like, here, buy your ticket and also here's this meal. Like, is that difficult for you to get through something while you're hearing like somebody scrape their spaghetti plate with their fork?
So my first show, I'll say I was pretty nervous just because it was my first one ever. I'm literally the one who, when I shoot that pistol, that's the start of the show after they play an introduction to it. And it was just a lot. But when I got into it, I guess there's some awkward silences, and sometimes if an audience member they won't even be part of the show, and they're not in it, and they'll just scream something out or just start yelling or just have a fit, and that's happened um, a couple times to me. Definitely being on stage, but that could be anywhere. We do shows; it could be 50 people, and it's been up to 300. We've had like sold out shows before, and those are always interesting too because you have to watch your tones, your levels. You have to kind of have a crowd control of where your eyes are and who you're speaking to because you want to keep everyone involved. And it's very easy just to face one way and just speak the whole time because you're trying to think of everything at once. You have to definitely have a lot of body awareness whenever you're doing something like that. But I get very personal with it. We have time where he just kind of opens it up. And when people are eating, he's like, you guys can go out and introduce yourself and go up to tables. So I always just go up to different tables, introduce myself in character, the whole time it's talking like this and understanding and asking who wants to maybe be a part of the show. And as I do that, I'm developing a relationship, even if it's a very small one, with every person at that table. And a lot of the times I'll notice them locking eyes with me or maybe recalling something that I said to them at that introduction while I'm doing it in the show. And it's a very cool way to get personal, maybe with a little bit of everyone quickly and briefly.
Did you ever get heckled at all?
Uh, no, no. One of the craziest ones that did happen to me is, so I can't say exactly what does happen in the show because I don't want to spoil that, but there's a part where I'm sitting in a chair and my eyes are closed and they're kind of all acting around me. And while I'm sitting in the chair, they had asked, one of the ladies, they're like, "Hey, why don't you go up there and mess with them?" And I wasn't expecting, my eyes were closed, and she just like full scale, like jogged up and like double leg jumped like onto my lap, like in front of me. And I almost went through the chair, like, "Hello." And it was very hard to stay in character while something like that is happening to you. But I did it and I pulled it off and the show went on. But that would probably be the closest to the heckling I would say that happened to me like that.
Yeah, so worse than the heckle, I would say, trying to
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
say character deal with.
I definitely I was definitely beat red blushing just because I didn't know what was going on, so I could feel the heat on my face. I was like, "Oh boy."
Yeah, duh, no doubt. Uh, so uh, you are before we before we go any further, talking about the acting and your career, which we're gonna definitely dive a little deeper into because you're in some cool stuff. Uh, I gotta ask about the embalming because we've never had anybody even close to that on our show, and I think
Well, I'd love to touch on that.
that's super interesting. Like, how did you get into that? And, like, are you technically an undertaker?
Yeah, well, a funeral director and PA, whenever you do get your license, you can embalm, and that means you can also sell death goods, caskets, vaults, things like that. So I can do both. I also got a certification whenever I graduated to run cremations, and those run for 7 years that you have that license. But I don't do that anymore, so I didn't renew it. But you had to take a class and pass a test, just like how that would be in the state of PA. You could go into it without anything and do like your 4 years there because they do a lot of stuff at that school, but also with Pitt, which is right down the road. Their school is in Shadyside, so it's not far at all. Uh, but it's a wonderful school. I loved going there. I kind of just always had a question about death. I think death scared me, and maybe it still does to a little bit. But I wanted to understand it more and I wanted to dive deeper into, and I feel that was the easiest way for me to do it. And that's been through a lot of different things in my life. Whenever I've been nervous or scared, I kind of that's when I jump because I feel like that's when the best things are meant to happen to you. But I went to the school on my first visit. It was after I went to Geneva College, which is local to here in Beaver Falls. I played football there and got some of my credits that I needed to get prior. Transferred into there, did my schooling. They have a beautiful school. They have an embalming room right outside in the parking lot that has the best tables, the best equipment, um, and I got to work directly with funeral directors there, funeral directors who were teachers, funeral directors who would just come in and, have a class one day and show that. But I will say this about funeral directing, and I'd like to point this out to anyone who may think about getting into it. Whenever you first go to the school, I had about 100 kids in my class total. And they said, "Who here has family in the funeral home?" And 98 kids raised their hand, and me and this other kid who didn't kind of just looked at each other and looked back, and I was like, "Oops." But when you look into the funeral business, they all have a last name to the business because they're all family run. If you are a family member, it just comes with the family member perks, and that's what most do, and it kind of carries on that way. I was one of the outliers, so I got in with a great funeral home in our area that was busy all the time, and I got to learn there as well as at the school.
Yeah, that's interesting. I watched a documentary last year on HBO called The Mortician. Are you familiar with it at all?
I loved it. Not I didn't love what happened, but I loved the show. And I just never knew about that prior. Like, I was just sitting there, with my girlfriend in awe. Like, we're just like looking at each other like, there are how many in there? Because I've
Yeah.
used a cremation machine and just one person who may be a little bit overweight, there's enough fat on that body that you could blow that thing sky high if you don't regulate the temperatures right. So I'm like, I mean, that was they're lucky they didn't all get fried a lot quicker in that, I think.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Did you see that documentary, JC, at all?
I didn't, but now I'm gonna have to check it out.
You
Oh my
should.
gosh, dude,
You
it is wild. I think it's like 6 parts, and
What's it
basically
called?
it's called The Mortician.
should.
It's about this dude that went to jail because he,
The
took
last
over
name was
the
Lamb.
yeah. I'm
Yeah.
I I'm trying he's on my list of many people I want to get on this show,
I'd love oh, that'd be so cool.
but
He was just
I can't
yeah.
find his contact information no matter what I do.
Yeah, I'm sure that he maybe wanted to that way too. I'm sure there's probably still some people looking for him, I'd assume, in
He
some
seems
degree,
like
you
he's
know, with
like
some of the stuff.
seems like he's really open about what he did. Like there at times the producers are like on audio saying, "No, please don't say anything else because
Yeah,
that could indicate we might become accessory to any crimes that
yeah,
that you're not in
yeah,
trouble for yet." And
yeah.
but yeah, man, he
And I'll
takes
say
over
it's
his
so everyone should see that, and you definitely should watch it if you haven't, because it makes a funeral director who's been through all of those things go, "Wow,"
what
you know?
I'm I'm glad that it made you go wow and not like, "Oh, I mean, that's actually how the business works." Yeah.
Right, right, right.
Like,
I I wish that I grew up in a time where I could have been in like, he had, like, thugs and bouncers. I mean, it looked like being in the mafia back in the, 60s, 70s, 80s. They had ties in with those things too, and I was, get a couple guys, you find a couple on the street, knock them down, you never run out of business, you know?
yeah. It's like there's the rival funeral home, and he's like having people killed and stuff. And
And how about the
it's
picture of that guy? I mean, he beat the life out of him. It wasn't
yeah,
like just a showing of it. I mean, it was like close to death beating. I mean,
yeah.
or
No,
maybe
man, it's
didn't he succumb to injuries at some point after? I can't remember what happened, but maybe he just passed away. But something happened afterwards. I just can't remember.
suspicious. He suspiciously died, I believe,
But that's right.
unless it's a different person, because I
No, I
remember there
think
were
you're right.
multiple people in that documentary that
Who
like
could have disappeared or
suspicious.
had?
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, it's wild. You're like the first person in that industry that I've been able to even broach the subject of this documentary since I saw it.
I'd
Uh,
like to throw one little key hit in here just because I just talked about it the other day and somebody asked me, what was the strongest or most like the worst scent that ever hit you? inside of the death field just because people have all different stories of levels of death. And my story was the same, and I'd like to tell you guys as well. So I met inside of the PIMS, Pittsburgh Institute, inside of their embalming room, and he asked, who knows how to release gas inside of the stomach? And we were working on someone who was a homeless man. We do a lot of homeless people, indigent, gang violence. Anyone who doesn't have a place to go, we'll try to take care of them the best we can. So I said, "Yeah, I do." And he's up there and he's like, well, explain what you're doing while you're doing it. So I'm going through different shunts and things that I might be able to poke through the stomach to let the gas out. But this time I'm doing it, but I'm talking to the class, I'm talking to the professor, and I'm not realizing. And I poked that right through, and just all of that gas went into my mouth, up my nose. And it's such a force because his stomach was so big because he had been outside for 4 or 5 days. And whenever you are outside, gas just compiles everywhere. And it was like, a forceful blowing, and I think there was some pieces that may have went up my nose as well. So that was one of the strongest sense I ever learned, and it also taught me to always have self-awareness inside of the embalming room. So that was my story I told, and I wanted to share it with you all as well. Not
That's,
that it's a fun story, but it's a kind of morbid as well. And I'm glad I
yeah,
had to go through it, nobody else.
Yeah.
that's wicked.
Noted. When
Yeah,
next time I puncture a stomach, I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, your head shit. Yeah, exactly.
I could say this though, like I obviously haven't been in any like situation or scenario close to that, but so my dad, uh, he had uh, colon cancer, right? And he had the colostomy bag, and he used to let the gas out of the colostomy bag
Sure. Yeah,
just
yeah.
to mess with us because
That's a very similar one along the lines. So
uh,
I guess you have dealt with something very close along the lines there.
so and it's I've never been bothered by a fart ever again because like the scent that came out of that bag was putrid. It's like
Yeah.
unlike anything that
No,
I've ever
I hear
smelled.
that. I hear that.
Mm.
It's something about the organicness of it is very discomforting because it's something that's produced within. It's very that's always been strange to me in that sense.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
but yeah, that's thanks for talking about that for a little bit.
Oh, sure,
Uh,
sure. Of course.
let's move on though.
Definitely.
So you are in Mayor of Kingstown, right?
Yes, yes. I had started with background roles with him in season 3. We've been doing that here in Pittsburgh. It's been a wonderful team to be a part of and to work with. It's been almost 3 years of solid work. We're working on season 5 right now, but we're getting on the tail end of things. So I'm really excited to see that. Season 3, I was more in the different jail gangs, and I was always doing background stuff here, there, just kind of the tough guy look. I had my own cell a couple of times. I was up there like maybe 13 or 14 times throughout the first 2 and even more continuing on. But it's a very cool show to be a part of because it gives you that sense of life, but you actually get to leave from it. But it is a very heavy place to be because it's an actual jail where a lot of terrible things I'm sure had happened there. Uh, so it's a very bittersweet thing, and it's something that should be talked about, I guess, with respect as well, because I got to meet a lot of people who actually were there incarcerated because they applied to be a background prisoner for the show. So it was interesting. You got a lot of stories that way as well. Season 4, they asked for someone to be the prison tattoo artist. And I have worked on tattoos and played around with guns and just got tattoos throughout my whole life. So I just submitted for it and I said, hey, I know how these things work and I could figure out a pick and poke tattoo if you need me. And maybe 30 minutes go by and they shoot me a message back, ding, and they're like, okay, you're featured. And I was like, oh yeah, this is cool. So I go and I ended up having to get like 8 tattoos placed on me, even though I have plenty of real ones myself, but they did them on my hands, my neck, my face. And it was the only time in the show where I got the screen to myself. Well, it was just me and then a gentleman's arm who I was doing the fake tattoo on. And it was like 3, maybe 4 seconds of just me. But it's so hard to get just a screen to yourself being a background actor. So whenever that happened, the director's right there, main actors are right there, and they made me feel like a star. It was 4 seconds, but I appreciated every person that was there so much. They just made it was something I'll never forget in my whole life for sure.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I have several follow-ups. So I don't mean to rush, but I also don't want to forget these. Uh,
No, of course, please.
tattoos, right? As an actor, has that impaired some of your ability to get hired?
I'll say this, if they were on my hands or my neck, that it probably would, but so many time period pieces that I have. However, they do come in handy for different roles, but time period pieces where I go back in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and I've done a lot like that. I think because of my long hair, I get picked a lot for those roles, and they always want me to cover that up just because people didn't have tattoos unless you were like a hardcore criminal or maybe a biker gang, or there weren't really, it wasn't something that was seen often, so it would make my presence look offsetting. But no, it's actually helped me, especially for Mayor of Kingstown, because yeah, I did use my real tattoos in that as well as the ones they added on there. But it has taken me out of a few roles as well. I actually just had one where I was going to be playing a live amputee patient who was getting his leg sawed off inside of a college where they were teaching it. It's back in like the 20s. And they're like, we'll cut your leg off, but I had tattoos on both of my legs completely, and, I just said, "Hey, I understand. I really wanted to do this part, but I understand it's more convenient to not have to paint all of my tattoos to then cut my leg off. So you could give that to somebody else." And they said, "We really appreciate it. And maybe there'll be another part for you." And I said, "No, that's fine." But being in this, I've always been that way and try to be very open with people and just accepting because you never know what's happening, especially being on a set. So it's been a good thing. It's been a bad thing, but overall, it's been a good thing because I've used them for a lot of different roles where people, a lot of bad guys for sure. A lot of bad guys, a lot of criminals. And I always really enjoy those parts too, because most people tend to say I'm a pretty friendly guy. So that lets me break into another side of myself sometimes.
Yeah, yeah. That was kind of the advice that, not that technically I've been given, but like I've been told that if I'm really trying to break in, that it would be difficult because I'm like covered in tattoos and I have like neck tattoos and stuff.
You're selling yourself. You're selling yourself into roles that you want, and you have to know what you're best fit for. My biggest things that help me is I do use Backstage, which is a big help to me. I've gotten tons of work through there. I have used Actors Access. I don't get as much on there, but just Facebook, it's free. And there's so many groups and so many other people trying to help people. And it's like a family on there. Just like there's a lot of stuff on Instagram. And I book so many things for free, like not even using a service on there, just typing the right things. And my biggest advice to people is just type casting and any city that you may want to look for a part in, and 100 things will come up. And just sending the stuff out, even if it's not a part that you even fit the role for, they get you in a database. They see that you're trying, they see that you want to be there, and it just kind of puts that on the back burner for them. So I think it's always a good thing to send out as much as you can to whoever you can if it's something that you want to do.
Yeah, I don't necessarily know if it's like something I want. I'm like we're filmmakers, technically speaking. You know, I have a couple of movies that are distributed, and we made a documentary. And
Okay.
obviously, I'm always working on the next project. But
That's awesome. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
yeah, there was a movie that I acted in. It's the only thing that I've done that I didn't control a few years back, and they didn't give us a script. It was mainly like kind of second unit background type stuff. It was called Zombie
Sure.
Beast of the Apocalypse, and
Okay.
like I played like various like I played like a hillbilly, and I played some of the zombies, and I did
Cool.
second unit work with the second unit guy, and like I helped craft a like a rocket launcher that was taking place. So I was like puppeteering, like when you see like the rocket take off, I'm puppeteering. It's
Yeah.
just a bunch of little things,
Cool. It's
and
cool.
I liked it well enough in the sense that I enjoyed not having to act and also be in total control of everything.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
um,
being the head of the ship and it all sinks if you go down is always a big burden to have on anything, I'm
yeah,
sure.
like I don't think I would act in any of my stuff if I had enough actors that I didn't have to do it.
But you didn't I could see that, I could
Yeah.
understand that.
But, yeah, I've done it enough, and I'm super
That's
into
awesome.
improv, like, I'm always looking for, like, improv troops and stuff. That is one thing that I've always wanted to improv and
I've al
sketch, I wanna do more of.
Sure. I've always had so much fun with it, and I was just gonna ask, did you have fun that day? Was it a good day overall? I mean, was it a
Oh, but yeah, it was a
enjoyable day?
It
Yeah,
was real
awesome.
fun.
Awesome, awesome.
I had
Yeah,
a great
that's what
time.
it always is for me. Always is for me, and I think that's the number one thing. It's like this is the only thing I've ever done my whole life that doesn't feel like work. Even though I could be on set for 16 hours, it doesn't feel like I'm working. You know, between networking, meeting new people, getting to develop my skills, getting to put out something I'm passionate about, I can be creative with and create and show. And I just think it's so important to bleed creativity through it. I got the opportunity and now I have the platform to do so. It's been awesome. You know, I started out maybe when I first started doing 1 to 2 things a year. One of my first big ones was American Rust, and then it moved into Mayor of Kingstown for like the bigger size ones. But it was very sporadic and not all the time. I kind of was getting bummed out, but then I started reaching out and doing more independent films, and I started doing a lot of films with colleges, and I started working the George Romero Film School and Tom Savini special effects are one of my favorite ones up in Menneson, and I do a lot of stuff with them. But there's so many ways you can do this and figure out which parts you like. And fortunately for me, I've done so many roles in different parts that there isn't one I can say that I like best. Like I love them all, and I'm always so thankful and grateful for the opportunity whenever I get to go. One of the last ones I did, I just wanted to touch on real quick was I did it with Case Western University, and it was for CVS Minute Clinic. CVS Minute Clinic is a quick stop where you can go into CVS and get treated. But anyway, I get this thing. It's a ping through my backstage and it says, "Hey, we'd like you to play a medical provider." And I'm like, I don't know if you guys think I look like one or not. Or maybe I'll show you some more pictures of myself. They're like, "No, we think you look fine." And that's what a lot of our students look like now. And that's what a lot of our people we're hiring are coming into CVS like. And I was like, okay, cool. But they still covered them all up nonetheless. But I was a little nervous about that role. It did take like 16 hours of filming. It was very industrial when I was just having a conversation with someone 65 and older, another actor, and I was playing the doctor. And it just went through this whole thing. And what I was doing was anyone who is a medical provider or a physician that comes to work at CVS Minute Clinic will be watching me play a provider to show them the 4 M's of mentation was what we were going over. And I think that's pretty cool because it'll be all 50 states or anywhere that there's a CVS, they'll be watching me play that. So I'm really excited for that footage to come back where I can actually share it. They're almost finished with it.
That's
That's
cool. And
awesome. Yeah.
that this is weird, but that falls in line with one of my interests when I talk to filmmakers and actors. I
CVS.
have not CVS.
Mm.
um, I have like this deep interest in like tutorial films or like the type of uh new hire
Hiring
or
film.
new hire
Yeah, like
orientation or trainings. They're
Yeah.
there's a whole
always
YouTube channel that's devoted to like old McDonald's and like Burger King
yeah.
hiring
Oh,
videos
yeah.
and stuff
And
like that. They're so
so
fun to watch.
what's
Yeah.
cool is
Yeah.
Sean Quincy King, who's a filmmaker, he did one of my favorite shot on video movies of the last 20 years or so called Screamwalkers.
Okay.
His like actual day job that's not making movies is he like films those videos and that like pays his bills and he still gets to, like do industry stuff and then he goes off and does like his own independent work. But
Yeah.
like I'm always like super interested in that stuff because I have been through many trainings. I'm a journeyed career professional, I guess you could say. That's the
I
nice way of
understand that.
saying saying
Professional
like
very liberally using that word here.
I work a place for 2 years and then I get mad and I go I pick something different. Uh,
I get that.
so
I
I've
get that.
seen a lot of these. They're all very similar in the way that they're put together, and I love like the older ones in particular too that have like that very 90s flair to it, and it's
Sure. Sure.
20 years past the time that they made these videos, but they still roll out the same one like on the
I've
VHS.
had tons of trainings just the same. I know exactly what you're talking about. And my
But
first, it actually just reminded my first job ever was at Giant Eagle when I was a bagger and cart pusher when those were still just the job title. Now I think it's something other. I think you can only be a cashier and maybe they have like a helping associate, but that's where I first started. I remember having to watch those on an old computer screen in a back room that was kind of hot and learn how not to hurt people with carts out in the lot and just, is one of those things.
so let's spend all this money to make these videos to teach people common sense. It's just the
Yeah.
funnest it's the
Yes.
funnest
Yes.
thing to sit through, and there are
Yes.
people that that's their job, that's their career, like, they make those videos.
Yes, yes, yes. That was like the studio that I went to. They do a lot of ones like that where it was new for me. And so they had a voiceover part and they scheduled a 2-hour segment for us to do this voiceover part where it was me reading basically all of her vitals off and saying everything that was happening to her because it was going to be playing pictures of her on the screen and different things while I was talking in the background. So anyway, they give me the script and I'm thinking it's going to take forever. You know, I read it 1,000 times at home. I read it to everybody that wanted to listen to me read it. I'm like, "Hey, you wanna listen to me read this?" And just going through it, but when I finally did it, he was like, "Wow," I went through it in maybe 15, 20 minutes straight through, and he actually had to look at the nurses, and he said, "Did he pronounce everything properly?" And I looked back too, like, "Did I pronounce everything properly?" And she was like, "No, that's great." And he was like, we're done. So let's move on. Oh yeah, but the funeral directing, and I went to school for all of those things. And I had to memorize those for my state boarding test, which were very intensive. So I knew all those words prior, which was very helpful for me in the background.
That's another thing I'm
Yeah.
always curious about with, yeah, acting and anything medical related. It's like there's definitely information that you have. It can't just be as simple as I remember these lines. Like you have to be like
Yes,
convincingly uh
yes. I spent a lot of
deliver
time on
those.
Google.
Yeah.
Just how did you say this? How do other people say this? And I would just like have to type in something on YouTube and listen to somebody say it another way and try to develop my own way. Just some of those medications I was saying. One of the hard ones for me for whatever reason was a azithromycin. At first, I just wanted to keep saying things other than that, but luckily I did it. Just came right out because I said it so many times. I will always highlight that. I go into everything that I can fully prepared. I stress myself out with it that I just want to do it right because I appreciate people picking me and accepting me and wanting me to be part of something. So I always try to leave it all on the mat, the floor, the court, the stage, wherever I am, I try to leave it all there. And it's worked out for me so far. I've never burnt a bridge with anyone. I've made so many friends and great networking throughout this field. And I have so many things coming up in the summer that I'm just trying to schedule everything and keep it all put together because when Jack Links calls, that's the only one that I've never missed an event in going on 4 years now. Anytime that they call, boom, I'm on it just because of how well they treated me. I try to show the same back. And doing my vending route that I do every day I'm very grateful to have that as well. Cause I could start that at 4 in the morning. I could be done at 7 in the morning if I need to be. And then I can go be on set to do all the things that I love.
Yeah. Heck yeah, man. Uh so we're actually kind of hitting that mark where we are
No, that's
cutting
good.
things off.
No, I knew that.
This was a fast 45 minutes. You are
It went fast. You guys are very easy to talk with, and I appreciate that. It's always good whenever that happens.
Yeah, yeah, it's not always that easy, man. Sometimes we're
Sure.
texting each other like, "What do we
Yeah.
say
It's a
next?"
struggle.
I
Yeah,
hear that.
it's a
I hear
struggle
that. I hear
sometimes.
that. I can understand it fully.
But,
I did.
uh,
I wanted to say one thing real quick. I
yeah,
recently started a second job in talking about like the training videos and stuff. So it's completely remote. So I'm sitting at home watching these training videos, and they're
Yeah.
all AI.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
alright, that's gonna be the thing
it
now.
was it was
It's
it was almost like I was uneasy watching it because I could tell this wasn't a real person
right.
just from like the mouth movement and then I left a comment after the training videos. I was like, can we please not do this
I love that. Yeah,
anymore?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I hear that.
Because
I hear that.
it's super uncanny valley. You can tell there's no like the eyes and the
Right,
mouth like
right.
is never going to be simulated
And the
like a real
movements of
person.
muscles and maybe things
Yeah, it's
beating,
just
just
not
there's things that
there.
are very are unsettling to me as well, for sure. They're
Mhm.
unsettling to me as well. And I do see it moving in right now at an extremely quick rate. I mean, I feel people were kind of off put way back whenever you could first type stuff into Google too, or when you had to pay per search of things way back when.
Sure.
So
Sure.
I just feel that right now it's kind of at that level where you still have to pay, try it out. And I feel that it can be used as a great tool. I use it as a great tool for myself, at least for polishing emails and things like that. But I would love to see the acting world stay as close to keeping real actors as they can, using the AI for more of a supplemental tool to tighten and enhance and optimize other things versus taking over a extremely human job that I don't think any computer could ever take over. Not if you want to personalize me. There's so many movies that stick out. I'm sure some of your favorite movies where you just remember how the line was read, or you remember how someone's face looked, or you remember how somebody made you feel. And I don't think that AI could ever make those things happen to the same degree that a human has that personal connection with you.
I don't even
Yeah,
like CGI, man.
Yeah. No, it's a,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
almost
It's
I'm almost tempted to like put into a language model and be like, remake the movie Twister for me,
right, right,
just to
right.
see
Just
what
see how it does.
wild insanity that it
Yeah.
produces. Because
That's
when AI first started to become like a popular thing, like obviously it's been around longer than like the 2020s.
Yeah.
But there was this website where you could go and watch an AI production of Seinfeld, or what the AI thought Seinfeld was, and it was
Okay.
the craziest, weirdest thing
It had to be creepy to
ever.
some degree, I'm
yeah.
sure.
It was like very early on, so like nothing looked like the characters didn't look like real people, and it was
Yeah,
just like the
yes.
weirdest. The things they talked about were just in like insane,
Just
but
insane.
it
Oh,
was it was just the
the progression
craziest
of
thing to watch.
Will
They have some of
Smith
those real
eating
big
spaghetti.
movements.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like when they're eating spaghetti and it's just
Yeah,
like
yeah,
going in their face, and it's just
yeah.
like
You're
Right.
like, what about yes, yes.
But yeah, so here at the end of the show, we always like to give the guests the floor. Anything that you want to promote or shill or plug, or anywhere anybody can reach you if they want to hire you.
Of course.
Just go ahead. Floor is yours, man.
So I have my IMDb. It's just Ryan Beatrice actor. If you type it in on Google, every click counts for me and means so much to me. I also have my Instagram. You can follow me on Facebook. I add everybody. I do try to answer all of my messages, and I do get a lot of questions, and I'm always very open to those things. But if I could say anything to end this off, is I just hope that if anyone has any form of creativity inside them, or an idea or something that they want to show to the world, don't hold on to it, because it's like a little burning flame inside you. And if that spark goes out, which it almost has with me many times, I've been down that road, it may never get relit again. So I just want to say, bleed that creativity, never give up on that, and just, pull through even in the hard times. I'd also like to give a little shout out to my son. He's just means the world to me, Michael. You might have heard him come through the door, and he was trying to be real quiet. He shut it, and he like went down the steps all quickly. And I appreciate him so much, because he deals with me doing 10, 15 auditions up here sometimes, and screaming at the top of my lungs and yelling in different accents. And he always be, "Oh, Dad, do you need me to, can I talk yet?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you're good, buddy."
Okay, bye, Drew.
Yeah, okay. I was gonna say, I think we lost him.
He might have just had the same thing happen with his kids, oddly enough.
I
Speaking of
understand
it,
that.
I,
I understand
I,
that.
I have to say, I'm looking through your IMDb photos, and there's one of you, like wearing a prisoner outfit with a baseball bat.
Oh yeah.
Uh, I'm gonna really reach here,
Okay.
just based on your tattoos and your image, that the kind of music that you listen to.
Yeah.
Um, are you familiar with the band? Come on, Fit for a King.
I have heard of them. Yes, I have heard of them.
Okay, because you look exactly like the singer in that
Oh, dude,
picture.
okay, I did. I never thought that, but I'm gonna have to relook now. Oh,
Yeah,
we have another addition to the show. Hello.
yeah, there it is.
Hi. But no,
You're
no, no,
muted.
that is awesome. I'm gonna have to definitely check that out and see if I look alike to him. I get a lot of those sometimes. A lot of my buddies always say that I look like different people, and they'll send me a picture, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah, or the dude from Wage War. I can see that too.
wait. And it's always interesting too, like whenever the casting companies get back to me and they're like, "You look like a great prisoner," and I'm like, "Thanks. I think that's good." You look like an excellent killer. You look like a mobster. I'm like, thanks.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
All right, Drew, you have any final last words? You're muted, just so you know.
Yeah, I know I'm muted.
Okay.
He's chatting. I didn't want to have too much noise over
No,
you guys.
I was
Uh,
making comparisons to people.
yeah. I again am super happy with the way this turned out. You were great to talk to.
This was
I look
awesome.
forward to seeing more of your work. I will
Yeah, we'll have to
definitely
talk again.
we'll keep
Definitely,
in
definitely.
touch. This
Thank you
was
so
great. We
much.
didn't even get to, you know,
And I would like to
there.
finish out one more thing that I almost forgot, just not to keep you
Yeah.
too long. But
Yeah, no,
I have
absolutely. Go ahead.
a film going on right now, and I've only most films I've done only have had one film premiere. We're on our sixth one. It's our final one. It's called Briar Hill, 1977 Youngstown, and it's about the Mafia Incorporates, a love story. And I just want to shout out to Youngstown for being such a great audience. They stayed for our question and answers. They've sold out this theater, 320 plus seats at,
Wow.
umpteenth dollars a ticket, and I just appreciate them so much. I had a role. My name's Jimmy Bacala in it, and it's going to be coming on Tubi. We're making the announcement. Our last show is June 6th at the Columbiana Arts Theater, and we're going to make our announcement. We have a special guest speaker, and hopefully it's going to do great on any of our streaming that we're going to announce where it's going. But we have some really big plans for it.
Yeah,
Columbia, that's
excellent.
actually not far from me at all.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's the Columbiana County Arts Theater at the Cat, and it's they've treated us so well, and the sold out shows just mean so much to me every time. I'm just in disbelief sometimes that there's so many people there that stay and listen to us talk about it. And they're but the Youngstown wears the Mafia like a badge more so than a bad thing, and they're so interested in
right.
it. And there's so many good stories that we didn't even know that we heard from them. We even had Paul Gaines as a guest speaker, who was one of the from Mahoning County. He had a lot to do with the Mafia, and he was one of the prosecutors. So we've gotten so many different levels, and we've been so accepted by the city of Youngstown. Anywhere we want to film, we can film. People have let us use. We had to have all cars from the '70s doing a time period piece. If one thing's off, that whole scene's done. It doesn't matter how long you spent doing it. So it was. They've been just wonderful for us.
So
Yeah,
are you
that's
the special guest that's advertised on the film screening?
No, no,
Like the
unfortunately, no, there's gonna be someone else. I don't even know who that is yet. The writer of the book, it's actually a book you can buy on Amazon, Briar Hill. It's
Oh, okay.
yep, his name's Jimmy, and he's fantastic. His last name is Taafe, and he's fantastic and awesome to work with.
Awesome. Yeah, the Columbiana the columbianaartstheater.com, or I think the cat.com
Yeah.
also works. You go on there that you can looks like I don't know if you can still buy a ticket. It looks like I can.
Oh yeah.
Um
Yeah, that'd be
I'm
awesome.
sorry, it's at the cat.com.
At the cat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully there's still some left, and I'd love to see you there if you can. But yeah, we every time when it gets close, they put that sign up, and I love seeing it when it says sold out. Show. It's always a great thing to
Yeah,
see.
I might be able to make this, to be honest.
Oh, it'd be wonderful. I'd love to see you there. We'll have basically all of our actors there, and all of the local ones who are in the show, and they're fantastic guys that I've worked with, and everyone put in a lot of time on this, and it became something really special. And I think people are going to enjoy it all over, especially with the power of streaming.
Yeah, we here are very big fans of mafia and mafia related stuff.
Oh,
In
then
fact, we have a mafia podcast where we tell stories about the lesser known, like it's kind of like
really
a comedy thing.
okay.
Um
I'm gonna have to click into that. I'd love to listen to stuff.
it's
I
called
guess it's
Cannoli Watchers. We've only done one
only
episode.
one.
It's pretty new, but there's more
Oh,
to
awesome.
come.
No, that is so cool. I have such a big it just encompasses my brain all the time. And I grew up, some of my favorite films, The Goodfellas and Bronx Tale and God, I just watched all of them, and it's just always been something. And getting to do the live acting as like a mobster back then is just so much fun for me.
Yeah, awesome.
we interviewed a former
Oh yeah, yeah.
mafia. Well, I don't know. Higher up is the what was his name? Lou.
It was a while ago.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. He was super cool, but he's like
That's awesome.
he has this like best-selling book and uh real cool guy. I'm so sorry if he's hearing this. Uh Lou Ferrante.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
With the
Um
show. That's awesome.
I remembered it. Yeah, we're super into mafia stuff, and like
Yeah.
he's put me in contact with some pretty legit like mafia people that might start making some appearances here or there with the
Oh
cannoli
man, I really
mushers.
hope
And
so. That
but yeah,
there's such a crowd for that. It's fantastic, and
oh,
I love that whole era of things all the way up until now. We're doing another one that's going. We're starting the acting for summer where I landed another main part, and I'm really excited about it. But it's going to be called Mink, and it's written by Jimmy as well, and it touches on more recent Youngstown stuff that happened and a lot of true stories mixed with a love/adventure story. And I'm really excited to do that, just seeing the how well our last one did with Youngstown.
yeah, great. All right, man.
Yeah,
We will let you go. We will stay in
Awesome.
contact for sure. We definitely
Very
enjoyed
cool.
having you. We can
Thank you
definitely do
so
it
much for
again.
having me. It was great meeting both of you and talking with you. And thank you again so much.
Yeah. JC, hit
absolutely.
that outro.
I'm trying. I don't know where it's at. Okay. I found it. All right. Thank you.